Hi everyone, I'm WABC Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg. This is Wake Up Weather on ABC7 NY and For Weather or Not, sponsored by TD Bank. Well, this insane heat stretch is coming to an end. One more day on Wednesday. The third heat wave of the season became official on Tuesday with a high in the mid-90s, but those feel-like readings went way over 100, even pushing 114 in places like Toms River on Tuesday. We have one more scorcher, extreme heat, and also some strong storms that we'll have to deal with. Tuesday was the 14th 90-degree day of the season, and on Wednesday we'll get the 15th, which will make it the exact number that's the average for an entire season. So we're going above normal in that field for sure during the summer. Last year we only managed 12 90-degree days. Before that, it was double the number in 2022, back at 24 90-degree days. Heat advisories and excessive heat warnings will take us into the day on Wednesday, with those heat indices going north of 100. But relief is definitely coming, and that'll happen Wednesday evening, and we'll start to feel the benefits of that during the day on Thursday. The cold front doesn't work through until later Wednesday night. Because there'll be some showers around, so far the forecast is for moderate to borderline unhealthy air quality, a subtle improvement from Tuesday. But I still think if you have a respiratory issue, you got to be careful going out in the heat on Wednesday. The severe weather risk, that's definitely there on Wednesday. Now, there could be an isolated shower around first part of the day, but more likely it'll be more concentrated in the late day and the evening hours. Downpours are a widespread threat, and then there'll be some storms with some damaging wind gusts over 60 miles an hour that can take down some trees and knock down some power lines. So just be super careful with your travel later Wednesday, and especially Wednesday night. I think about limiting travel. One more oppressive day. For the storms, they're later in the day on Wednesday and Wednesday evening with the damaging winds and downpours. The relief. So on Thursday, the one change from yesterday is that the drying looks pretty aggressive on Thursday, so that showers, although I have to allow for one in the morning and maybe a leftover thunder shower, could be a stormy start, especially for early commuters. But then that cold front goes through, and even if there's a little bit of humidity lingering in the morning hours on Thursday, it looks like those dew points drop through the 60s into the 50s by afternoon and especially into the evening hours. So it's going to feel a lot different by Thursday afternoon, and it's still a warm day in the middle 80s. So if you have outdoor plans, don't give up on that day. It actually could turn out to get pretty nice. And then it's absolutely gorgeous on Friday. This is the pick of the 7-day. You've got low and middle 80s, and you've got low to moderate humidity. That's going to feel great. And the weekend's good. It's not oppressive, but it's definitely getting warmer. The futurecast as we go into the day on Wednesday. There could be an isolated shower around in the morning hours. Most areas are dry, but I think we're in an environment where you might get a thunder shower to pop even during the middle of the day, while the biggest concentrations of storms are going to come later in the day, getting into our western suburbs, maybe close to the 5 o'clock hour, and then the radar is likely to just light up during the early evening hours. Again, heavy downpours, gusty winds. We can cause some flooding in some areas. We can certainly have some wind gusts over 60 miles an hour, and that front slowly moving through. So it's going to be a rough evening with showers and storms. Now, there's probably a lull overnight where there's just some scattered showers around, but the actual front hasn't totally come through. But toward daybreak, as that front comes through and our winds are shifting more north and west, we might have just enough leftover energy here to spark a couple of showers and thunder showers even toward sunrise. Then that starts to move out. The northwest breeze takes over. We got partly to even mostly sunny skies, and the humidity starting to drop. So middle 80s with lowering humidity and dew points in the 50s could feel quite nice to end the day on Thursday. So one more day of these feels like readings in the upper 90s to over 100. A snapshot 2:30 in the afternoon hours on Wednesday. Somerville, New Jersey feeling like 103. Toms River 106. The Park at 98, 97 White Plains at mid-90s. Islip, Bridgeport, and even low 90s. The feel like reading in Montauk. Those dew points will be in the mid-70s during the day on Wednesday. It really is stifling heat. But here comes the relief. The dew points by Thursday morning will be in the upper 60s to around 70. You'll still wake up and say, oh, I thought it was supposed to be, feeling much better. Well, give it time on Thursday. By the time we get to the afternoon hours, the dew points are dropping through the 50s, and it feels much more comfortable. Again, have a delightful Thursday evening and a great day on Friday. That's really when the relief is here for a full day. You've got a mixture of sunshine, a few patchy clouds, and dew points in the low to mid 50s. That's going to feel gorgeous. Now, fronts only get so far south this time of year, and this one's going to hang up over the mid-Atlantic. There's another front that's working over the Great Lakes. We're kind of playing a squeeze play over the weekend. It's going to be dry much of the time, but I think some high clouds from the front to the south will be drawn up into our area over the weekend on Saturday. So it's more of a filtered sunshine and clouds. Some high clouds masking the sun on Saturday. Nice day, probably temperatures in the mid and upper 80s, so a warm day, but the humidity's moderate at worst, so it doesn't feel too bad. By Sunday, again, we're squeezed in between these two fronts. It might be enough of a focus where you have a stray shower around, a mix of sun and clouds. Temperatures will be in the upper 80s. I could see our interior parts of New Jersey even get close to 90. So it's really warm. It's just that the humidity isn't out of control, and we wouldn't call it dangerous heat levels. And I think that'll be the story, at least into early next week. Overall, from Climate Prediction Center, looking at the 23rd to the 29th period of July, we're looking at below normal temperatures, middle of the country, and we're just sort of near to above normal. So I think we can be in the upper 80s. We definitely have warmth, but we don't have extreme heat to finish out the month. And overall, the precipitation looks near to slightly above average as we go through late month. You look at the overall temperature trend and forecast trend for rain chances. Once we get past Wednesday and Thursday, the rain chances are very minimal Friday through Monday. I think that front to the south may try to get up closer to us on Tuesday, and our shower and thunder shower threat is trending a little higher as we go into the day on Tuesday. Looking at the overall weather pattern, we've got a cool pocket of air and an upper low over Hudson Bay as we go into the weekend. That's what's helping to suppress all that heat down to the southeast, and the big heat ridge out west is back. And we hold on to that protection from extreme heat into the weekend, but overall that lifts out, and the heat from the Bermuda High tries to retrograde and get back into the northeast midweek. But the thing is, there's a front around. So instead of getting 90s and high humidity, I think we could be in and out of showers and thunderstorms for a several-day stretch. That may start on Tuesday and even go through Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So if you're having a vacation week next week, we may get unsettled there in that time period. The better weather would be to the north, and the stormier and wetter weather would be off to the south. Here's the overall temperature trend, and you can see, once we get past the 90s on Wednesday, we can go above normal at times into the upper 80s, but we're not talking about extreme heat. And the mid 80s that we're looking at midweek next week may be because we're seeing some rain showers across the area and a lot of cloud cover. We'll look at the tropical Atlantic. We always like to check on that. And so far, so good. There are no areas of interest from the Hurricane Center right now. And even when I look at some of the low-level spin and I'm looking for these reds or oranges, I'm seeing waves come off the African coast, but they're really fighting some dust in the atmosphere, some shear. They're really not developing very much. So good news so far through the end of July, or at least through the 26th. Nothing organized forming in the tropical Atlantic as the season kind of catches its breath a little bit. 80 degrees at 7 in the morning on your Wednesdays. Very warm already, hazy, very warm and humid, and there might be an isolated thunder shower around. Most areas are just hazy and very warm. Look for that isolated thunder shower threat to bubble up starting after lunchtime, but the main core of the storms would be late day into tomorrow evening. Once again, they can go severe where we have damaging winds, some heavy downpours, and of course lots of lightning as we go into the evening hours. That threat would go into Thursday morning. Waves of showers during the overnight and even a thunder shower at daybreak on Thursday before things quiet down. We'll go 92 for a high on Wednesday. Hot and humid, feels like over 100 at times, and strong afternoon and evening thunderstorms. The air quality will be moderate to unhealthy, UV index at a 9. Boaters, beachgoers, south wind about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Good chunk of the day should be quiet at the beaches. Just keep an eye on the sky in the afternoon and evening hours. Have a plan to get off the beach if those storms start forming. And the other hazard at the beach is the rip current risk. We've got a wind out of the south. Make sure lifeguards are at your area beaches. If you get caught in a rip current, remember, you let it take you out a little bit. Try not to panic. Swim parallel to shore, beat the grip of the rip, and then head back in. 73 degrees tomorrow night, humid with showers and a few heavy thunderstorms. We'll be tracking those storms for you. Here's the 7-day. Nice to see only one red box on there. One more AccuWeather alert for your Wednesday. Steamy with afternoon and evening strong to isolated severe thunderstorms. There might be an early thunder shower on Thursday, but I'm getting more encouraged by the idea of drying things out faster, getting partly to mostly sunny and lowering humidity, and the afternoon starts to feel really nice. On Friday feels great. And by the way, note that Thursday night is our first night in a while we get to dip into the 60s in New York City and maybe even some upper 50s in the Catskills. On Friday, real relief, 85, low humidity. Now, the weekend's warm. I'm not talking about, refreshing air for the long term. We're just saying no extreme heat. We're in the upper 80s, typical summer warmth. The humidity's kind of low to moderate, might feel like around 90, and we got a lot of high clouds around on Saturday. There's an isolated thunder shower chance on Sunday, but I wouldn't cancel any outdoor plans. We're going to be dry in most areas most of the weekend, but it's a mix of sun and clouds. We're at 88. Monday's a nice summer day in the mid-80s, and then Tuesday's the first day where that front to our south may start to bow northward, and we are sort of in a focus for showers and an occasional thunder shower, and that may last for a couple of days. That's the way your forecast is shaping up. You can always get your weather information on ABC7NY 24/7. And thanks for listening to this episode of Whether or Not. We'll see you next time, rain or shine.